One of the things that is apparent when you get into the content creator world is that you will need some tools to be able to be successful and to be consistent in your content creator journey. Tools aren't inherently good or bad. Tools, by the world standards and just from the perspective of the consumer, everyone wants to dictate what's best, what's better, what's good, what's top, what's bottom. And we have these metrics for defining and placing our tools into a particular category. For the content creator, there are cameras, there are microphones, there are lights. And that is very, from a very basic perspective, those are the ones that you gotta have. Those are the ones that you're gonna need. Lights, microphones, camera. You're gonna have to light yourself. All cameras are better with great light. Their audience needs to hear you, and it's critical for you to have audio, and you are going to want to be seen for it to be a video. Those are the major components. Tools in the content creator world build off of these three. Tools build off of these three. Equipment build off of these three. Gear build off of these three. And one of the things we want to do today for the Coaching Corner is we want to dive deep into some of the tools, some of the gear, some of the equipment that I'm using and maybe you may want to use as well. But I want to keep it as I guess central as possible to the fact that these are all a means to an end, and the end is getting your content out there. As a content creator, you've always got to be laser focused on the fact that you have an audience to serve with good content, and you want to make sure you can give them that good content in a way that's meaningful, in a way that is impactful, in a way that they can easily access without any distractions. That's what a good tool set and a good toolbox looks like. And I'm hoping to be able to showcase some of the tools that I use. Again, not really looking to pit them against one another, not looking to say good, better, best. I'm simply sharing with you what works for me, what works in my particular context, what works that allows me to be consistent, and what works to reduce the friction between my concept, my idea, the value that I know I want to provide, and getting it out to the world. And so it grows over time. I'm certain that at least one or two of you can testify to the fact that you may have started with a mobile device. You may have just started with a phone, the camera and the mic, that's all here, right? You may have just started with this. This even has light. Can you imagine? This has all three of the basic components that is necessary for us to be able to create content. And some of you may have started right here. But again, I'm certain that several of you can testify that even though you may have started simple, it can kind of balloon. It can kind of grow and expand. I started in the storage closet, which is just across from where I'm sitting now. And I literally used it for all it's worth for over a year before my family and I decided that it was time for me to set up a permanent space where I can actually create content, because this wasn't something that was going to be going away. This wasn't going to be something that was a passing fad. This was going to be something that I would be doing for the long haul. And so we talked about a number of different things, different areas in the home that I could possibly utilize. Our garage has what they call a golf cart garage, and I was planning to take over that space and utilize it as well. But then I decided, man, being in that space would require us to do some HVAC, require us to do some flooring, maybe even to put up a wall. I was like, man, that's a lot. I was willing to do it, but my wife was like, I would much rather you be upstairs with us. Still kind of coming towards the end of the pandemic time frame. Everyone was home. Kids had their spaces already defined upstairs. My wife was in this room. This was her office, and she was willing to take up the game room, which is just outside of the door there, and utilize that as her office space. She really just wanted a desk. Now, I got to be honest. I was not okay with this. I was just going to put it out there. I was not okay with this. I was not okay with taking up her space, with moving her out of this room and her going into another room. I was not okay with that. And so I bristled at it for a while, and it took us a couple months to really land at a amenable scenario. And when we did, we got her a new desk sit stand. We got her shelving to put on the walls. We got her a new chair and set up a light and webcam and microphone and made sure that her office space was still going to really serve. And for those that don't know, my wife and I work in the same business called Composition, and she is the CEO, chief web designer as well. So I do the video production under the brand Composition. And of course, my channel on YouTube is my name, but we go with the phrase how it all works. So all of those pieces needed to be incorporated into this space, but I was trying to figure out, how do we do that? And so what you see now is, I think, iteration number 20 of this room that was given to me by my family saying, we believe in what you're doing. I want to pause right there. This room was given to me by my family because they recognized that this wasn't a fly-by-night adventure. This wasn't something that I was going to do for a little bit and then just kind of fizzle and die. They recognized that this space, having a dedicated space in the home upstairs where we all are, would give me an opportunity to share content, to be able to create, be able to have a dedicated lifeline to the World Wide Web where I could serve my audience at scale, and I could do it with quality and consistency. My family made the investment in me to have this space, and I'm super grateful for them to be able to do that. I take none of it for granted. And I'm again, we're going to dive deep today on a lot of different pieces of gear, and we're going to answer your questions and different things like that. Hope that you can rock with us live for a little bit. It's the middle of the middle. But one of the things that I always want to make very abundantly clear is that these spaces that we define are a tool. It is equipment to be used to get your content out to those you hope to serve. Whenever we invert that order, whenever we start to think to ourselves that the equipment is the paramount thing, that the equipment is most important, that the equipment is really the point, we will completely miss the mark. We'll miss our opportunity. We'll miss our purpose and our calling. As a creator, as a content creator, you have an audience that you're serving in whatever way that might be. And there's a message that you want to get out to them. There's a thing that you want to teach them how to do. There's an experience that you have written into your story that you want to share with them. You do that best by having some tools. And in my case, my tools are housed in this room. And I want to share with you a little bit of what we have in this room. And I want to share with you from the perspective of someone who has been able to get some tools added to my toolbox with no money coming out of my pocket. I want to share with you what sponsorships could look like, what monetization can be defined as. I want to share with you some of those things, even as we prepare for our masterclass this coming Friday, where we will be talking with Justin Moore, who's my brand deal and sponsorship coach, about his new book entitled Sponsor Magnet. So with that said, let's get into it. Sponsorship is defined as the position or function of a person or group who vouches for, supports, advises, or helps fund another person or organization or project. In the creator world, we call them brand deals and monetization, which are both forms of sponsorship. But can sponsorship also mean job opportunities, speaking engagements, or Sponsorship is defined as the position or function of a person or group who vouches for, supports, advises, or helps fund another person or organization or project. In the creator world, we call them brand deals and monetization, which are both forms of sponsorship. But can sponsorship also mean job opportunities, speaking engagements, or increased credibility? And would you want to learn the steps to create that environment? I think you do. Join us Friday, February 7th at 10 a.m. Central Time for our Sponsor Magnet Masterclass with guest presenter Justin Moore. What if you could set yourself up to attract sponsors? Or have you ever received sponsor/brand attention but didn't have a process or pricing ready? Our guest presenter is my brand deal coach who just released a book by the same name as our class, Sponsor Magnet: How to Attract, Price, and Execute Your Dream Brand Partnerships. YouTube and Workers Warehouse members will gain access to exclusive Q&A session and lifetime replay access to the masterclass. Live and 24-hour replay access is free for everyone. Simply visit kirkrnugent.live/masterclass. Again, that's Friday, February 7th at 10 a.m. Central Time for our Sponsor Magnet Masterclass. I'll see you there. Yes. I did the wrong thing with the video, but I'm hoping that you were able to see it, hoping you were able to engage with it. Definitely want to make sure you guys get a chance to come through and hang out with us on Friday. My good friend, Justin Moore, is going to be our guest presenter for the masterclass. And one of the things I want to say right here real quick, as you are diving in, maybe you're coming in on the replay, maybe you are live. Thank you so much for being with us today. My name is Kirk Nugent. Also go by the Geek Speaker Preacher, and this is the Coaching Corner every Wednesday at noon, which I like to call the middle of the week, middle of the day of the middle day of the week. But yes, we will come in the middle to pull aside for just a second to talk about all the different things, the hustle and the grind, the work ethic, the consistency, the hamster wheel that can be content creation and live video hosting and live show producing, podcasts, all of the things that make up content creation. We come aside here in the Coaching Corner to chat about some of those things, to learn a little bit, to engage a little bit, to gain insights, wisdom, perspective. Listen, to get your questions answered. And if you have questions, I'm going to let you know right now. My moderators are going to share with you. You want to put a Q colon in front of that question. That's going to let me know that you have that question, and it's going to give me an opportunity to answer that question. This is what this space is all about. Today, we are looking at tools. We're looking at equipment. We're looking at gear, specifically what I have been doing in my studio. But if there is anything that sparks some inspiration, anything that you have questions about, please put it in the chat. And it doesn't even have to be related to what we're talking about right now. And I want to share with you, even as I go through some of the tools and things that I'm doing, how I was able to gain access to several components in this studio without paying for it, without actually taking money out of my own bank account or pocket to pay for it. Doesn't necessarily mean that I got it for free. It just means that I didn't necessarily pay for it. So I was able to get some of these tools under sponsorships, under brand deals, under partnerships with different clients or entities, brands like the people who make some of these tools, to be able to do content for them. So there's many different ways for us to be able to look at that. And again, we're going to be chatting about this in the context of what we will be doing this coming Friday for our masterclass. Now, let me get to some of my comments. You know, I love to start it off with some comments. I see Anthony T. Hladson is on the live. Thank you so much for being with us today, my friend. It says, hey, waiting patiently. First one here. You must have commented that way before we went live. I'm excited to see that. Also, Jim Lawyer is here. Hello, everyone from Tip City, Ohio. Tip City, Ohio is in the building. Isla is here. Good morning, Kirk. Hey, V-Team Paranormal, that AKA Isla, thank you so much for being with us today. Love that. I see Anthony was listening intently during my intro piece, and he says, all my videos are on my phone except for teaching on StreamYard. I love it. I love that. I love that. And listen, even with StreamYard, you can still use your phone as a webcam depending on how you have it connected. Cosmic Grandpa is giving me some help. He's testifying in the chat saying, I can relate to that. Finally got a Brio and a Shure, and it made all the difference. Let me tell you, there's something about being able to take your tool set to the next level. What's going on, Dr. Vibe? He says, greetings, family. Dr. Vibe, thank you so much for being with us today. Cosmic Grandpa's back says, that was my reminder to leave a thumbs up. Leave a thumbs up. Come on, put a thumbs up on this thing. Excited that several of you are with us today. If you're watching from LinkedIn, if you're watching from Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, please let us know. We'd love to be able to engage with you in some creative ways as well. Oh man, 604-852 Cafe is with us today. Thank you so much. Canada is well represented in the chat. Thank you so much. I see several of you chatting about the audio from the promo video. We'll play it again towards the end of our time together. Thank you so much for letting me know that it wasn't working. I had figured that out right before some of you started to comment, but hopefully you were able to catch the entire video. Cosmic Grandpa says, I will be there on Friday. I'm excited about that. I've actually been hearing from a lot of people that they will also be there on Friday. So I'm definitely excited about that. Dr. Vibe Show has a Q colon in front of his comment, and I'm definitely going to get that comment in just a second. Enea, one of my moderators, is here. Thank you so much, Enea, for being with us today. Always good to have some mods in the chat, but always good to have you as a friend in the chat as well. Thank you so much. JJS Tech is here. Says, yo, what's going on with you as well? Thank you so much for being with us today. Man, so many different things to capture. Let me just go to the screen real quick. This is the sponsor, the Brand Deal Wizard webpage, branddealwizard.com. Attract sponsors like a magnet. You can see that. It's right there. Start watching Brand Deal Wizard. You got his intro video that's there. This guy, I went through cohort, I believe it's number 4 of his Brand Deal course, Brand Deal Wizard course, and it made a significant difference in what I was able to do and achieve and accomplish related to brand deals. So I was super excited to hear that he was coming out with a book, and that book is named Sponsor Magnet. You can see it there on the screen. And one of his good friends and somebody that I look up to as well, Pat Flynn, is there giving the book 5 stars. It's about time somebody wrote the book on sponsorships, and there's no better person to write it than Justin Moore, and we're excited that he is our guest presenter this Friday at 10 for our masterclass. So definitely want to make sure you guys get a chance to come and hang out with us for that. And if you can learn a lot of different things there. I see Dr. Vibe saying, great video on live reacting. Thank you. And if you have any other questions on that, let me know. I want to pull up the masterclass page. The same promo video that I shared earlier in our time together is right here, actually. So you'll see 1 day, 21 hours, 39 minutes, and 44 seconds, kirkarnugent.live/masterclass, or you can, either way, we'll put it in the chat, but we want to make sure you guys get a chance to go to the page and just make sure you're you've saved your digital seat for our masterclass this coming Friday. So there it is. You see it right there. You can go right to it and you can engage with it there. Let's go back to our comments just for a moment, just to acknowledge one last one here. Yes, I really enjoyed working with Live Reacting and doing a video on their platform just to showcase what that platform looks like and who it is for. How does it compare to the rest of the marketplace? All of those good things. Living Water Quilter is here on the live with us today. This is Geraldine. Always good to have you come through and hang out with us. Thank you for being with us today. So now I'm back on my main scene here, and of course I took off the overlay earlier because of some of the things that I was doing. I see that there's a question here, so let me grab that question real quick before I dive into showcasing some of the things that we have been talking about, some of the things in my studio that I have been making changes on. What do you feel are the differences between Live Reacting versus EV Mux? Well, first of all, Live Reacting, I'm a big proponent. Thank you so much for the question, Dr. Vibe Show, but I'm a big proponent of what was this platform created for. I think when you know what they created it for and who they created it for, you can self-identify as either being a part of that audience or not being a part of that audience. So Live Reacting, let's start with EV Mux. EV Mux was created by live show producers for live show producers. That was their top intent. These are people that were already using web-based streaming platforms and decided, you know what, man, we could do virtual conferences, but we need ways to be able to speak to the on-screen talent. And so there's a lot of functionality in EV Mux that is really producer driven. I mean, I'm in heaven in EV Mux because I can speak to my folks in the green room, like literally turn my mic on and speak to them, and it's not heard in the live stream and it's not heard by those who are on screen at that moment. Conversely, I can speak to those who are on screen and it is not heard in the live stream and it's not heard in the green room. So there's some functionality that's built into EV Mux that I always find very appealing because I am a producer. I do my shows myself here on my YouTube channel and on Facebook, and I think we're on LinkedIn today, but I also do shows for clients, a lot of shows for clients. And because I do a lot of shows for clients, I'm constantly trying to help them tweak and adjust. And you know, when it's live, there's just so many different little things that you need to handle. EV Mux gives me functionality that is critical to ensure that a producer can produce a great live show. They make sure you have the scenes. They give you a lot of flexibility to put your brand on it, your stamp on it, your fingerprint on it, because that's what content should be about. One show shouldn't just look default like another. The shows should have a defined difference between them. And so I love that about EV Mux. As I look at whether or not, what is the comparison, I should say, what's the differences between it and Live Reacting, I go back to that same question again. Why did Live Reacting create Live Reacting? Well, it's actually there in the name. And just for context, EV Mux stands for Events Multiplexer. EV Mux, Events Multiplexer. So they really built it around this whole concept and idea of doing these virtual events. They shifted, however, to really broadly include live shows, live show hosts, solo producers, that kind of thing. But if you have ever gone into EV Mux and said, man, there's a lot here, who is this for? Hopefully this explanation I'm giving you is giving you some context. Conversely, you get into Live Reacting. What comes to mind as soon as you hear Live Reacting? Live Reacting. What they built their platform for was to solve this problem of engagement. Engagement. Now, I demoed a platform here a week or so ago called Stream Alive, and I've got more content coming on Stream Alive as well. Live Reacting and Stream Alive actually sit very much in the same lane of looking to punch up engagement. Live reacting really has these AI tools and polls and games and quizzes and things that really allow your audience built in. I want to say this, built in. See, what I love about Stream Alive is that you can use it with your favorite streaming platform. It is not a streaming platform, but it can get cumbersome if you to be sharing the screen and doing the different things to be able to get that data or that information. But the thing that's worth it is you're in platforms that people are already used to: YouTube, Zoom, Teams, Google Meet. You're in platforms people are already used to. And so because they're already used to it, they're already ready and willing to engage. What live reacting has done is they've put those functions and features into a actual streaming platform. And so that streaming platform, which is comparable to probably StreamYard and or EVMux, because it has scenes, right? Because it has scenes, I would compare it more to a Restream or an EVMux than I would compare it to, say, a StreamYard, because it has scenes. And with scenes, for those who are unfamiliar with scenes allow you to do what you see on the screen right now. Everything is modular. Everything is movable. I don't have to keep my comment here. I can move it around. Scenes gives you the ability to layer and design and be creative and do whatever you want with your content. It doesn't necessarily have to be one way or the other. Scenes gives you a lot of functionality. So those are what the origin stories are for both of those platforms. You have EVMux, built by producers for producers, but has expanded to include those who are solo producers, solo show hosts, and then just general content creators who are looking to continue to engage their audience. Then you have something like a live reacting, which also gives you the a lot of functionality and abilities to brand and customize your show, but it also has these pieces that EVMux doesn't have. In fact, none of the others have these engagement pieces that allows you to do games, quizzes, polls right inside your browser-based studio. All of it's right there at your fingertips, right in front of you. And if you haven't gotten a chance to check out that video, it dropped this past Sunday, and I'd love for you to be able to check it out, because I think knowing what's in the marketplace is another thing that I think we as consumers must do a better job of. Even if you plan on staying with your platform of choice, you always want to ensure that you know what others are doing, so you can go to them and say, go to your platform of choice. Maybe it's Ecamm, maybe it's EVMux, maybe it's StreamYard, whoever. You can say, hey man, I just saw what live reacting is doing, and they're really disrupting this space. What are you gonna do to answer, right? What are you gonna do to bring some of that functionality to your platform, which is the platform I'm subscribed to? So understanding what's in the marketplace makes us better consumers, because we can hold our platforms or our service providers accountable and say, don't just rest on your laurels. What have you done for me lately, fam? Or else I'm gonna have to take this show on the road. And I think that's what happened. If I can just be honest, I think that's what happened with StreamYard. I think that's what happened with a lot of us with StreamYard, is that we just got comfortable. And then once that price change hit, we began to say, wait a minute, let me go and go back to the marketplace and see what's available. And then what ended up happening, I can't tell you how many consult sessions I've done, helping people transition from one platform to the other. But one of the things that happened, and I hear this over and over, is like, man, I had no idea that all these functions and features were available from other platforms. I was just stuck in my StreamYard box, waiting for StreamYard to put out features and functions, and I would jump for joy when they would, but I wasn't checking regularly. And one of the things I hope is clear, and I hope that we don't make this same mistake over and over again, is that we go regularly, once a month, to the marketplace and say, what's there? What is Ecamm doing? What is vMix doing? What is OBS doing? OBS is, I'm not a fan. But anyway, but what are some of these platforms doing out here that I could possibly at least expose myself to? Live reacting is a thing. Stream Alive is a thing. There are others. There are several others out there that you could go and check out and see what are they bringing to the table that it may be over and above what I'm currently getting from my current platform. Let us never get back into the position where a platform has us over a barrel. And when they make a major shift, it completely upends our processes and everything that we're doing. Personally, I'm using them for what they are. They are tools in the toolbox. And this brings us back to what I was chatting about earlier. What are the tools that you are going to use to get your message out there to the world? Today, and pretty much for everything that you see on this channel, I utilize a platform called Ecamm Live. I'm going to move my mic to the side right now because I actually am repping some Ecamm gear. Imagine, create, repeat, and that's the Ecamm logo in the middle. Also picked pillow. I already had orange pillows in the studio, but I picked up an Ecamm pillow just to add, because I get this question so often. What is the platform that you use? In fact, on that same live reacting video, somebody commented below and said, did you use live reacting to, yes, indeed, JJS Tech, no brand loyalty. Even though I may rep this joint, Billy, don't get it twisted. I will hold their feet to the fire if they are not giving us what we want. In fact, I did that with Ecamm as well, did that with StreamYard as well. So I was actually creating content for StreamYard when I recognized that there are some major limitations in the platform. And when I recognized that those platform the reputations were there, I said to StreamYard, hey, what about this and this and this? And they could not give me good answers, which sent me back to the marketplace looking for something that would meet my need. And that's when I came across Ecamm. And I've been rocking with Ecamm for a while. And one of the things I really love about Ecamm, in fact, today I'm actually using the beta version of Ecamm because I want to showcase some of the tools I'm using in my studio. Ecamm being the main tool that I'm using in my studio. And once you have kind of figured out this is a tool that has, broad ability, broad functions, and it allows me to come and present myself in my best, in my truest form, right? I'm authentically me when I'm able to show up in this way. That's the time where you can begin to build around it. One of the things that I recently did, I want to get some of your comments, but I want to also make sure that I'm giving you some of the the behind the scenes. Doc Bashar is here. What's going on, sir? Thank you so much for being here. Park Braz is here. I like Stream Alive. I use several different stream enhancements. The goal is engagement above all else. That's the piece. And once you as the creator recognize what's paramount for me, what's top for me, once you recognize what those things are, what that thing is, you can begin to start picking off. It's like, that's not going to work for me, because you know what your true north is. That serves as a compass and a guide to keep you straight on your path towards attaining and achieving your goals. Dr. Vibe says, thanks for your takes, Kirk. I appreciate that. EVMux was created for live stream producers, but I wish the UI was more user-friendly. I would like to have a platform of choice. There you go. There you go. There you go. A platform of choice. But again, JJS Tech says no brand loyalty. And to be clear, here's where influencers, and this is such a cheat code for, and a prep for what we are going to be doing this coming Friday in our sponsor magnet masterclass. Here's the clincher. Whenever a brand partnership happens organically, when you as the influencer or creator would have already recommended said thing even if there was no partnership. Make sense? And so when you talk about no brand loyalty, what it means is in order for me to be a true an honest what's the term I'm looking for? Not suggester, recommender, right? For my recommendation to hold weight and for it to be true and to be honest and authentic, I have to continue to look around the marketplace to see what is everybody doing. And one of the things that I hope has become clear to many of you is that while I have clients that use StreamYard, while many of the people on my channel are StreamYard subscribers, while I have at least 2 or 3 clients that are on EVMux, while I do use Restream for some particular use cases, not necessarily their studio, but their ability to stream to multiple destinations. And while I do use, I can't remember the name of the platform right now, it's escaping me, just the big box production stuff, Aja Hilo and Blackmagic Design, all those kinds of equipment. While I use those things, which you should come back to. I mean, I just did a video on live reacting. What you should be seeing is that I'm still using Ecamm. Is Ecamm perfect? Is it the best? That's relative to what you're gonna do. But for Kirk, one of the things I've recognized that I need to have in my toolbox is a platform that checks these boxes, and these boxes are best checked by Ecamm. That's the reason why I use it. That's the reason why I rep it. And in addition to that, Ecamm, one of the major functions or features people say, and I totally agree, of Ecamm is the community. If you've never been to an Ecamm event, if you've never been to an Ecamm, been to the Ecamm community on Facebook, you won't know what I'm talking about. But the truth is that they do such a great job of including everyone, just making this community environment. So that's the reason why I keep rocking with Ecamm. Dr. Bashar says, seems like StreamYard counted on their market share and people's ignorance of what's possible to continue to carry them. I certainly wouldn't know if it wasn't for your platform. Listen, and this is another thing that's really good. You know, what's really great about what I like about my platform, because there's such a mixed multitude of people using multiple different types of platforms. When I put out a video on StreamYard, even if you don't use StreamYard, you may still check, because that's your way of staying up to date and aware and abreast of what this platform is doing relative to what my platform is doing. So you can continue to compare, like, oh man, I've had that feature for a long time. I'm glad to see StreamYard users are finally gonna get it. I wonder how they're gonna implement it. You see, will they implement it differently than my platform has implemented it? Is there something that they're going to do slightly differently that I may even want? Maybe I can go back to my platform and tell them, hey, maybe we need to tweak some things to make this a little bit better. That's what I love about that. Thank you so much for that comment, Doc Bashara. Park Broad says, we actually left StreamYard before the price hike because we were looking for 4K. So we've been utilizing Ecamm since the summer. And Park Broad, what you just shared is exactly why I left all of the above. I could not in good conscience continue to work with any of the web-based streaming platforms because I couldn't get 4K. And so because Ecamm gave me 4K, and I started to recognize there was this major difference between streaming platforms that were locally installed and streaming platforms that were web-based. And I went the route of those that are locally installed, and Ecamm has been my platform of choice. So I thank you for that. I could not agree more. And that was, again, how you got to the current platform that you're using is super critical when you're thinking through, how do I recommend this? JJS Tech says, true. I recommend things that I've used and works well. The reason why I can highly recommend Ecamm is because I've used it. Here it is. I'm using the beta version today. Still fairly solid. But if we do have a crash, you just have to keep in mind that it's the beta version, right? And so that's something I wanted to touch base on as well. And there it is, JJS Tech. Listen, I don't say it anymore because I feel like I was becoming repeating myself. I was becoming a deadbeat drum or something. Anthony T. Ladson says, absolutely, Kirk. Crafting something international using StreamYard. I love that. So the auto spell is tripping for sure. JJS Tech shares StreamYard's 1080p looks worse than Ecamm's 1080p, and this is the challenge right here. You hit the nail on the head, JJS Tech. That was the issue that caused me to go back to the marketplace. I went to the folks from StreamYard. I was actually creating content for them at the time. I was like, guys, the 1080p doesn't quite look like 1080p. It just can't be. and their responses did not give me confidence. And it just let me know that this wasn't an issue that was going to be fixed in the near term at all. Because even if they were to give you a 4K, if their 1080p doesn't look like 1080p, then what does their 4K look like? So I went back to the marketplace and began searching for something that would give me better quality. And that's when I came across Ecamm. So I love that. Thank you. Look, we're all just chatting it up here. I have a friend that likes the ease of use of StreamYard, but he streams mobile. The resolution doesn't even come through at 480p. I'm working to get moved to an app. Listen, these are the reasons right here why you find these types of issues. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do when I was looking at my studio, all right, over the holiday season, I was looking at the studio. I was like, okay, want to be able to do some things slightly differently. I've got to be able to find some ways to do that. I got to be able to find some equipment that's going to allow me to shift some things around. I needed to find a new config for the studio. So many of you are used to those two yellow bookcases behind me, and those bookcases are no longer there. So one of the reasons for that is we were shifting around the studio so that we could get another set, right? So this is my main set here that you're seeing. This is where you see me right now, how you see me on screen. This is how I like to show up on my live shows and in my content. Of course, I've shown you my background shot before, but by showing it today, you now can see that those two bookcases are still here. They're just over here. One is to the side here, one is in front of my desk here. And I'm actually using some of this bookcase to house some of the equipment that I'm using in the studio. And so these are still in the studio, but they've been moved over so that we can actually have some more space. It's coming back to the main shot here. So this is what I was really going for. One of the things that I also have, I have an A6400. That's the camera that I'm using right now, A6400 with a 16mm lens. This is what my main shot is at all times, and you will see that. You have been seeing that, I should say. One of the things I have been wanting to do is to add an additional camera, and then a top down, and then another shot from the side here. But the challenge with that has always been, how do you bring all those cameras into your computer, especially since we are limited in the amount of ports that we have? And so what I was tempted to do, in fact, I actually did buy a ATEM Mini Pro, right? Not the Extreme, just the 4-port, because I figured 4 cameras would be good. I needed to add 2 more cameras in addition to the one that I have, which is 3, and maybe at some point I might add in a 4th, or at a minimum, I can add my laptop in as the 4th and just kind of switch to that one as well. Make sense? So once I recognized that was something that I could do with the ATEM, I also realized that it was not going to work in the way that I have structured my workflow for Ecamm. So how do I describe that? The ATEM gives you 1 camera at a time, right? So you can plug 4 cameras into it, but your computer and whatever your streaming software is or recording software is only going to see 1 camera at a time. Now, the ATEM Pro, especially the ISO, you can plug a hard drive into it and record all 4 cameras simultaneously, but that's just for recording. If you wanted to switch between them live, you just have to switch on the ATEM, because your streaming software is only going to see 1 camera at a time. What happens if you want to show 2 cameras? All right, so let me go to my top-down shot. Where is the top-down? Here we go. So here you're seeing 2 cameras. You're seeing me on my Sony A6400. That's this camera right here, but you're also seeing my top-down shot, which is the Insta360 PTZ camera. That's a change that we've made in the studio. More on that in a little bit. But you're seeing 2 cameras. And this is one of those use cases where it's like, I want to be able to show more than 1 camera at a time. The ATEM Mini would not do that for me. I hope that you're following the trajectory. I hope that you're following the path, because how you arrive at the equipment that you utilize in your studio is equally as important as what equipment you actually decide to go with. In fact, it informs what equipment you actually decide to go with. So here you've got two cameras on screen at the same time. And that is something that I would like to do in multiple different scenarios. So right now I have one camera on. I wanted to also add a different camera, but from a closer shot. So this is a 16 millimeter lens. What would it look like on a 30 millimeter lens? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that is my Sony a6000 with a Sigma 30 millimeter lens on it. And so now it's a tighter shot, right? And it's a tighter shot, but it gives, I mean, that f1.4, it gives you that really great bokeh, and the ability to switch between them real time isn't something that is unique to Ecamm and Stream Deck. You could do that with the ATEM as well, but what you cannot do is actually showcase both of them at the same time. And I wanted the ability to showcase both at the same time. I wanted the ability to add in multiple cameras at the same time. I wanted the ability to have all of these different cameras at the same time and be able to create dynamic scenes, dynamic looks with these cameras at the same time. And I could not do that with the ATEM Mini, so I decided I was going to utilize a piece of equipment called the Blackmagic Design DeckLink Quad HDMI Recorder card. Now, I want to show that to you by going back to my screen. Here it is. We're back on the screen, and you can see that that card is right here. Oh, I don't have my mouse. Let's get the mouse going. And there we go. So here we go. And let's turn that mouse on. ATEM is 1080p too. That's correct, Doc Bashara. That was a limiting factor for me. So this is the Sonnet Echo SE1 Thunderbolt 3 expansion box, and this is the Blackmagic Design DeckLink Quad HDMI Recorder card. These two are what I purchased recently to be able to actually. I purchased all four of these, right? I have the M4 Mac Mini, and I bought this little dock that goes along with it that has this additional drive in here, and so that has, you know, completely changed my workflow as well. But these two are what I'm mainly talking about right now. The Blackmagic Design. Let's go ahead and open that in a new tab. I'm going to open this one as well. This is the Sonnet Echo. You can see that I've purchased it a couple of times, but that was for some client projects. I finally decided to buy one for myself. Here is the Blackmagic Design DeckLink Quad HDMI Recorder, and it comes with a little bit of software, but the main thing is that this device can take up to 4 inputs. And those 4 inputs are presented to Ecamm as 4 individual cameras that I can utilize in my setup. And so you can see that I have access to at least 2 of those inputs, which are the top 2, where the bottom 2 are both USB webcams that I have plugged into my Mac Mini. But I still have the ability to bring in 2 more 4K if I want to inputs utilizing this Blackmagic Design DeckLink Quad HDMI Recorder along with the Sonnet Echo casing for it. So those are some of the things I wanted to showcase, and it has been a game changer for me. It has been a game changer for me. And again, one of the things that I was able to switch around, let's go back here a little bit. I'm going to take some of these cameras off of the screen. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. And let's get rid of that one. So now we're on the tight shot. What up? This camera, the Sony a6000 with the 30 millimeter lens, was my top down shot. And so if I go to the BTS, you'll see that this camera right here, the camera that is behind my teleprompter, Sony a6000, was here, and it was pointing down, and it was getting this area here. But I always knew that wasn't a great use of that camera, and I wanted to put it in a different location, but I didn't have enough ports to really make it all work. But now that I have the quad, the Blackmagic deck link card, I can put that off to the side. I'm gonna have something else. So that was a critical piece that I needed to be able to bring in order to make this camera what I have it doing now. So it is off behind my main camera a little ways. If I bring my mic down a little bit, you can see that. So it's really tightly set up, but it gives you this other framing that's different than my main shot. My main shot, this is the main shot. It is what it is. This is what I like to call a tight shot. It's just slightly off center, but that's okay with me, especially since as I record, I'll have both cameras being able to be recorded as well. So you have those pieces. The other thing that I wanted to do, I already had the Insta360, got that from a community member who came into 2 of them. They won them at an event that they attended, hit me up online and says, hey, Kirk, man, you've helped me out so much. I've got these 2. In fact, they had the Insta360 Link, which is the one I'm using here for my top down. And they also had the the X4, right? The 360 camera. So I was like, man, thank you so much. They sent them to me. One of them they gave me at an event. The other one they actually mailed to me, and I was just so appreciative of being able to get this equipment. Then I was able to switch my top down to this shot here, and this is the Insta360 Link. This is the Insta360 Link, and one of the things that one of the other reasons why I made this switch now, even more so than before, is because I really wanted to utilize some of the new functionality that's coming out from Ecamm. One of the functionalities that's coming out from Ecamm, if I could just switch to my live demo mode here for just a second, and they allow on that, you can see that on my screen, you can see Ecamm is here. But also here, I have this controller for my Insta360 Link. Inside Ecamm, I can control my PTZ camera, not using the Insta360 software, but the actual camera itself. And so what does that mean? I can actually set presets. So I've got preset 1, and that's the one you're looking at right now. I can go to preset 2 and hit recall. And that is a top-down image of me. So if I lean back a little bit, it's a little bit better. And then I can go to preset number 3 and hit recall. That's just gonna show you the left side of my studio. I can go to preset 4 and hit recall. And that's gonna show you the right side of my studio. I think that's all I've got for that one, but I can go back to preset 1 and hit recall, and then it shows you that top-down shot again. And just for the sake of, since we're on live demo mode, since we're on live demo mode, I'm gonna show you in my camera switcher. I have these cameras already defined. So we have the camera for my main shot. We have the camera for the secondary shot. We have the Insta360 Link, which is the top-down shot. We have my behind-the-scenes shot, but then we also have the presets. Boom. You see what happens there. We have another preset here already in the camera switcher. We have the other preset here in the camera switcher. And even for my behind-the-scenes shot, which is a Logitech C920 webcam, I can change it to another preset. You can see that controller is here. I can change it to another preset and just zoom in and have that as an additional camera that's ready for me regardless of what I'm doing. So, and again, I'm back on my main, and I can come out of live demo mode. So those are some of the things. As I mentioned when we're in the lead in, your toolbox will be filled with the things that enable you to do the content that you're looking to do. I'm going to get to audio in just a second, but I just wanted to pause here to see if anybody had any questions about what we have set up. Yeah. JJS Tech says, oh man, Ecamm is becoming a juggernaut. Okay, so let me see what you're saying here. First of all, he says, I have the Deck Link 8K Do you find that sometimes it doesn't show up in Ecamm from time to time? Not frequently, but every now and then. So I have been using the deck link in a client environment for the better part of 2 years, and I have not had any issues with it not showing up in Ecamm. I just haven't. It is the primary way that we bring in the cameras. It's set up in a podcast room. There's 4 cameras in there, so all 4 lines come into the deck link, and then those come into the the deck link. Of course, is connected to the Mac Mini, and that is where Ecamm is residing. So if the deck link didn't show up, we would be in trouble. And so I haven't had any issues with that, but I thank you for sharing, because I definitely will be on the lookout for that, and I'll make sure to include that. And again, this is what I mean when I talk about how do you recommend. It's got to include a very balanced approach. Somebody says, oh man, so I should just get the deck link, and I'll tell them, well, if you're looking for this kind of functionality within a platform, then I would recommend the deck link. But to be quite honest, the deck link is far harder to set up, and the ATEM is far easier to set up. And you with the ATEM, you can just plug it into your computer, and you're ready to go. It's such an easier scenario. So even as I'm sharing this with you, I am willing to do some of the other work to be able to have access to this functionality. Ecamm is becoming a juggernaut. Couldn't agree more. Those presets need to be routable to the Stream Deck. They are routable to the Stream Deck. So let me go back to the thing here, and I'll show you. You're looking at my screen. I hope you can see this. Let me know if you can't see this. And so here is a camera. So tight shot. This camera B, top down shot, camera C. And so here, camera C is the first preset. That's the top down preset. But if you notice, I also have cameras D, E, F, G, and H, and those are the other presets. So I can actually change this to any of the other presets, and still, with the button on the Stream Deck, be able to switch to that particular preset. So it's just a matter of going in your camera switcher, setting your preset to a camera placeholder, and then in your Stream Deck software, you just simply select that camera, and that becomes that button. So yeah, JJS Tech, you are absolutely correct. And they thought about that, and that is dope. In my opinion, it is so dope. And here comes another one. My guy Johnny E, coming in on his other channel, says you can get the ISO recording for this as well. And I have not tested this, but I believe you can get ISO recordings for some of them, not all of them. You just have to remember that Ecamm has a recording setup. Let me go back to the screen so you can see my Ecamm preferences, and you can see here that here's your isolated video track. So I can set it to, the different things that are here, but I only have 3. I can only record 3 at a time. So once you get past that third one, you're now recording. I'm not really certain what you're recording. I don't think you can record all of them, even the presets, I should say. And especially for the PTZ, you have to keep in mind one of the things that's kind of trippy here is on the PTZ camera, you have these presets, but all the presets have the same camera shot because that's the shot that the camera is showcasing at the time. But you just have to know which preset is which, because it's going to move to that preset when you're ready. So definitely keep that in mind as well. There's a bit of a workflow to kind of get used to with it, but I think it's so worth it for the functionality that they've given us. The functionality they've given us is just absolutely crazy. And utilizing that today has been clutch. So those are some of the things that I am doing. Let me go back to my main shot. Those are some of the things I'm doing in the studio. The major updates was adding the Mac Mini M4 getting a base for it that has an additional 1 terabyte of storage, because the Mac Mini, the base model, is a great price, but it only has 256 gigs of space. So you want to be careful with that. At least set up some routines on your machine to dump things over onto your external drive, and having a dedicated external drive that's just going to sit with this machine was critical. And so that's the thing that I was showcasing on my page, is just that. Let me go back to the screen here, and that's the one. Boom. So that's what I was showcasing. This little base for the Mac Mini is what I was able to purchase. This little base here, you can see that now. That's the little base, and it's so cool that they left one of the corners out so that you can actually hit the power button. Why that power button is underneath the computer, Apple, I don't know why you did that, but at any rate, you can hit the power button. It does allow me to plug in a second monitor. Allows me, to have basically some other ports, but in addition, it also takes it's an enclosure for an SSD. So M.2 NVMe SSD enclosure. And so the drive that I purchased was the ID Sonics drive. I purchased it for the 1 terabyte. I just decided to go with 1 terabyte on this, and that has been really good. So I just changed my downloads folder and my recordings folder to it, and I've been using it like that, and it seems to work and function very well. So that was one of the major things that we wanted to update in the studio was the computer itself, the brains of the operation. The next thing we wanted to do was to offload some of the input-output of our cameras, but still have access to each one of those cameras by adding this DeckLink card. So that was a major addition for us to be able to have that level of functionality with that DeckLink card and the Sonnet Echo enclosure. But then lastly, we needed to add some components for the other set, which is behind me. So I'm going to go to my tight shot, just kind of move to the side a little bit so you can see what that set looks like. I think that set came out very well, actually. I think it came out very well. But what you'll notice, hopefully you can see that fairly clearly there, is that the set has 3 microphones there. 2 of them are the SM58s, and 1 is the Nexodyne microphone. And so those 3 microphones are there on mic stands. That's the look we wanted for this particular podcast show, Incubator's Couch, that I host with my wife. We're bringing it back, and we're going to be creating some content around that as well pretty soon. So that's what that looks like. But bringing these mics in meant that I needed more than just what I was currently using. So I still have the original Rodecaster Pro on my desk, and I have one mic here. I have another mic here. I have the shotgun mic here. All of them are XLR. So I already have several mics that were plugged in, and I want to be clear with you guys. A lot of these mics were sent through because of the brand deals that I have, and I was able to gain access to this equipment by working with the brand, or even in some cases being paid by the brand to create content on these particular pieces of equipment. I have the MV7 Plus over there. This is the MV7X. This is the Shure SM7B. This is the Rode NTG2. So several mics. Also have the Samsung Q9X over here, the Shure SM7DB over here as well. So several microphones. If I go to the BTS shot, you'll also see some of the other gear here that has been set up for us in some of the stuff that I've been doing. So that's been pretty cool as well. So in order to bring in these additional 3 microphones, however, I needed to bring in something else, which was an additional Rodecaster Pro to be able to bring in those 3 microphones. Because it's a podcast, we wanted to be able to record the audio, but we also wanted the audio to be connected into Ecamm, because Ecamm is what we use in this room to record. So this desk not only is my desk for my work and for my content and for my content creation, but this desk also serves as the producer station for even the other show that will be done behind me. So let me showcase. Let's go back to our top down shot. All right, so there you go. I hit the button and it moves into the place. So here I'm going to it's just too much fun. I'm going to actually utilize Ecamm right now let me turn off Pro Mouse. Good. I'm going to utilize Ecamm right now to move the Insta360. Oh, didn't want to do that. Anyway, you can see one of the Rodecaster Pros right here. And this is, again, one of the reasons why I'm like, this is just so super dope. How I'm able to showcase this. So this is one of the Rodecaster Pros. This is the first gen. This has always been at my desk. This is a staple here at my desk. And all of my triggers are on here in terms of the different clapping. You know, that's the clapping pads that I have. I can turn those off. I also have the tuba fail. Then you have the DJ air horn, the bomb, the gun load up. Oh, there's the gunshot. There's just so many different things that we can do with this Rodecaster Pro, and I love that. And the top down shot also enables me to create content on the Rodecaster Pro. Now, we're showing the top down shot. What if I wanted to showcase my face as well? Well, that's simple. Just click to add a camera, put the camera somewhere, and then change the camera to whatever camera you want it to be. And in this case, I want it to be camera B, which is my tight shot. And so now you can see me and you can see the Rodecaster Pro. Again, all of this is because that's the way that I want my show to flow. I want to be able to, in the moment, showcase different things. And so because that is how I know I teach best, that's how I get a chance to show up as my best self. And that's what I needed to design into my space, needed to have tools in place that allow me to do some of those things, because I know that's where I shine. Now, with that said, I'm going to go over to the other side of the desk. Let's go there. Nope. Let's go. Man, I am clearly not used to using this thing. All right. Is it going to get any closer? Yeah, I can't get any closer. So you're seeing like the edge of the other Rodecaster Pro right here. So I'm just going to go back to my regular top-down location. Let's recall preset 1, and I'm going to go to the other shot, which is the BTS shot. And you can see the other Rodecaster Pro here. If I go to the zoomed in version of this, will it show it any better? Yes, perfect. So you can see the other Rodecaster Pro here, and then you can see there's one here. So there are two Rodecaster Pros. This one is running the 3 mics that are behind me, right? The 3 mics that are for the podcast setup behind me. And then this one is running the mics for my setup here that I use for content creation and for live streaming. So those are, it kind of gives you a full picture. We talked about this at the beginning of the show today. Lakeisha Willer says, crazy. I have that same keyboard pad, LOL. Hey, that's so good. That's so dope. Always good to have you come through. My Facebook people are dope. I love that. So yes, and my YouTube people are dope as well. Let me just make that very clear. But yeah, we talked about this right at the beginning of our show today. In fact, let's go ahead and hide that camera and let's go back to the tight shot. But we talked about this at the beginning of our show today. The main 3 things is, of course, your audio, your lighting, and your video, your mic, your lights, and your camera, right? Those are the main 3 things. And for sure, many of us can access all 3 just here on a phone. But as you grow in your content creation, as you grow in your live productions, as you grow doing some of the things that you're doing, you want to ensure that you also have the ability to design a workflow and create tools and equipment that are going to enable you to show up as your best self. And for me, being able to have it set up like this, we didn't want to install paint and set up a whole other room to create a podcast space. So the better thing to do was to create space in this room, move some of these where I needed to have them so that I could have a little more space and more room to create a shot where I have a podcast set up behind me, and you can see that now. So those are some of the things that we've been doing here in the studio, here at my place, as we've been preparing for some of the other things that are going to be coming down the pike. And I see several of you are commenting, so let me get to some of your comments as well. Let's see here. Whew. Yeah, make sure you have Time Machine backups. That is correct. You definitely want to make sure you have that as well. Any audio updates in Ecamm beta? Ooh, see, I wish you had put a Q in front of this one. I'm gonna have to come back to it in just a second. Let me see here. Okay. Bark Broad says, hi, Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi, I missed your comment. There it is. Hello. Hey, Kirk. Hello, all. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Tachi. Always good to have you and Doc Vibe come through. Yes, man, I got that one. Love the setup. Thank you. Deal Billy is here. Hey, Deal Billy. I hope that you can come through this Friday for the masterclass. We'll be touching on brand deals and sponsorships yet again with Justin Moore coming through to talk about his new book, Sponsor Magnet. But he's also going to be, kind of just training us a little bit on some of the things that you can do to really turn yourself into a potential magnet for sponsors. I love that. PTZ. All right, I'm gonna have to start this. I'll get back to it in just a second. I want to make sure I catch some of these, and then I'm gonna get the questions. Park Braz, what's up? I see Lakeisha Wheeler saying I have the same keyboard pad. This is a staple for me. I love this. Oh, I did the wrong thing there. But anyway, I love this keyboard pad. It really does a great job. I am so glad to have found a live of yours. FAQ The Madness is here, so I will check out the replay, working on some things that require my ears. All the best. Hey, thank you so much for coming through, and thank you for leaving a comment. Always appreciate it. Every time I watch your live, I see something that I need. What's that monitor on top of your camera above the teleprompter? Ah, man, listen, that is a Lilliput. It's a 4K. It was my teleprompter before I got the Elgato prompter. And so, but yes, it's a Lilliput 4K monitor. It has the ability to flip orientation, all that good stuff. I think it's a 10.1. Yeah, Lilliput A11. Yeah, let's go to the screen. It's this guy right here, Deal Billy. Lilliput A11 10.1 inch 4K camera monitor. And yes, it is. I have it showing me the tight shot. I've had my eyes on those for a while. Yes, I have it showing me the tight shot, which is above the other monitor here, so that I can actually see what my framing looks like without having to look down. I can see what it looks like there. It was in the studio, so I already had it, and it wasn't doing anything right now. So I just decided, okay, let me make use of it this way. Let me grab some of these questions. Oh, he says, I've had my eye on it for a while. Got to get back to work. One love, fam. Great live. Thank you so much, Johnny E. Always good to have you come through and hang with us. All right, let me get these two questions that we have here. I'm going to try and grab Deal Billy's questions first. JJS Tech, I hope that you don't mind. I just want to grab his question because it's really easy. What in the PTZ camera is going on here? Okay, yes. It wasn't a real question. It was more of just an observation of some of the things that are possible with Ecamm now. And so I'm going to go back to my main shot here. JJS Tech has a question as well. Just any audio updates in the Ecamm beta? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. There is a Okay, come on, Kirk. There we go. There are some updates in the Ecamm beta for audio. Man, dude, there is just there. I'm trying to. Yeah, I have to be honest with you, JJS Tech. There's a number of functions and features that they showcased during the beta session that I have not played with yet. So let me go to live demo mode. And one of the things that you can do, of course, I turned off my Pro mouse, so I can't show you certain things. I wanted to highlight some stuff here. All right, there we go. So here is my audio levels. This guy right here. Put it back where it belongs. This is my audio levels, and you'll see all system audio is there. That's because I'm on live demo mode. You have the interview guests, Zoom guests, all that good stuff. Now, with the Rodecaster Pro 1, which is what I have, you don't have the ability to see all the inputs, because this version of the Rodecaster Pro doesn't have that. But if you have the Rodecaster Pro 2, there is an additional functionality that will come up right here, where you can actually decide, what's being mapped to what. It gives you all of the inputs that you can see in the Rodecaster Pro. It gives those to you right here in the interface and sound levels. Secondly, you have this thing on the bottom right here where gives you audio filters. This is a game changer as well. There's a ton of things that you can do here. I'm going to uncheck that. Double click to add plugins, and you have a whole lot of different plugins that you can actually change specific channels, entire mix. But once you decide what let me do specific channels. And so I'm going to do this on the main mic, and now you can add a plugin. So you can see on screen here, I know that's going to be small, bandpass, delay, distortion, graphic EQ. I mean, there's a lot of different sound audio plugins that you can play with. I'm not going to turn on any of them right now because I don't have no headphones on, so I don't even know what it's going to sound like. Plus, when I have on headphones, I'm monitoring what my Rodecaster Pro audio is, not necessarily the sound that's coming out of Ecamm. So keep that in mind. You're making these changes and these tweaks to what your audio is going to sound like. You may not hear them if you're just monitoring through your audio interface. You want to be able to monitor what Ecamm is sending out by going to your outputs and changing your audio setting so that you can actually monitor your audio that way. But this is bananas. The amount of things that they've added to the platform is actually crazy. And this is just the beta version, so there's a lot of functionality that you can really mess with. Kirk, have you started messing with live motion yet? And I have, but I wish I had something designed to have that as a transition. But yeah, the live motion transition is something that everyone using Ecamm has been chatting about, because it's so clutch. But so clutch, yeah. So time to download the beta, LOL. Yes. Okay, JJS Tech, it looks like you're blown away the way I was. Let me go back to comments. You're blown away the way I was when I said, when I started taking a look at some of the functionality. Yes. If you have the later version of the Rodecaster Pro, which I do at my work and at my church, I have the later versions of the Rodecaster Pro, the Rodecaster Pro 2. I installed the beta and took a look at what I could do there. Here's the other thing too, at my church, not my church in particular, but at a couple of churches that I've been working with, they mainly use PTZ cameras. And I want to make something clear here as I go back to let's go back to the CCK scene. I want to make something clear. These controls for the PTZ camera that I have and the webcam camera that I have, those just pop up automatically as soon as the Ecamm recognizes that you have a PTZ camera. So at one of the churches, we have 4 Sony 4K PTZ cameras, and we can now we can control all 4 of them with Ecamm. We can set presets for the PTZ cameras with Ecamm. And I'm telling y'all, like, that's a game changer. That is a game changer. Like, that is absolutely bananas that you can do that kind of functionality within Ecamm. In fact, one of the guys during the demo with Ken and Glenn, who are the founders of Ecamm, these are the guys that write the code. They actually had him remote into his church from home and control the cameras remotely using Ecamm. Like, that's absolutely crazy. So, but yeah, fam, that's really it for today. One of the things I wanted to make sure we get a chance to share is that you want to design your setup in a way that's going to be functional for you. You want to design your setup in a way that's going to enable you to put your best foot forward and show up as your best self. The tools that you have may be different than the tools that I have, but I'm hoping that today's show, where we kind of got a chance to go around and see all the different pieces of the setup that I've designed here for what I'm doing, hopefully that has been useful for you and gives you some inspiration and insight into what you could possibly do with your setup as well. One of the other things that I'm always looking for in platforms is their ability to add functionality. I'll give you an example. I'm using the Elgato prompter. Elgato prompter is a purchase that I made. There is no subscription monthly, nothing. I purchased this Elgato prompter. It works so well for what I do in terms of being able to read my scripts and record my videos. Then Elgato comes out with an update that allows me to use the prompter, use my microphone. The prompter is going to move and auto advance my script based on what I'm saying as I tie it to my microphone. And that is not functionality that I have to pay for. I see you, Nikki Nicole. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much for your support. This is not functionality that I have to go back and say, okay, let me pay for the update because they've come out with this new functionality and I don't have it because I bought it before that update came out. No, Elgato just pushes that over the air and says, here's an update for your Elgato prompter. I update my Elgato prompter and now I have this additional functionality which is called voice sync. Every time I'm looking at any platform or even equipment, I'm always looking at, how does this company operate? Are they updating? Are they giving you additional functionality even after you may have paid for, like in the case of Ecamm, I bought Ecamm. I pay for Ecamm annually, and the functionality that they're rolling out, I don't have to pay for it. It's not additional functionality. It just shows up in my software and I'm able to utilize it, not at an additional cost. So when you're pricing out platforms, when you're looking at platforms, these are some of the metrics you want to be able to use as a rubric to decide which one's the best one for you. What works best for me may not be the thing for you. But as you look at these things, I feel like over the course of today's show, you should have been able to kind of get a picture of some of the things that matter to me. And if they don't matter to you, you can just say that's something that's really going to work for Kirk. I can see how that works for him. I can see how he utilizes that functionality to really showcase what he's doing here on this channel. But maybe it doesn't necessarily work for me. And once you decide that, once you figure out these are the non-negotiable things I need to have in a platform, that's going to inform what platform you choose. And to be clear, the equipment that I'm using is also informed by the platform that I'm going to utilize, because I want equipment that's going to leverage the functionality of the platform. PTZ camera wasn't necessarily on my radar, but I want to leverage the functionality of the platform and the ability to go into a scene like this one and easily switch between this particular setup and some of the other setups. Let's see, we got, okay, yeah, this one. I can easily switch to this setup now, then switch to this particular picture, and then switch to this particular picture, and switch back to my top down, and then switch back to my main, or to the tight shot, or to the BTS. It just makes life simple if you are going to use it for what it is. If you're not going to use it, then the functionality doesn't mean anything. And that's okay too. That's okay too. It's okay for your platform or your tools to do more things than you're currently using, but you're future-proofing yourself when you set up your toolbox, when you set up your studio, when you set up your equipment in a way that gives you more functionality than what you're currently using. Never want to just utilize what you can currently use, what you currently know, what you currently leverage. You want to have a little more that you may not be using currently, but man, down the road, I may decide to use that. And I hope that today's video was able to showcase some of those functions and features of Ecamm, but more specifically of my setup. The gear that I've chosen, the different pieces. And if you are interested in checking out some of the things that we showcased today, head on over to kirkrnugent.live/gear. I hope I typed that right. Yes, kirkrnugent.live/gear. It's on YouTube. I'm going to go to comments and put that up on the screen so you can actually see it. But yes, I hope that you head on over there. That's my Amazon page. You can check out some of the gear that I have used, some of the things that I've reviewed, and several of the components that I talked about in today's show. Listen, fam, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been really, really fun. Time to go. I'm already over my time, but that always happens whenever we're here in the Coaching Corner. This is the midweek fill up. This is what I like to call the middle of the middle. This is your chance, our opportunity to just pull aside for a little bit and refresh ourselves on some of the things that we are doing. I do want to play, oh man, that is so good, the outro. Before we go, I want to play the promo video is what I wanted to say. The promo video is what I want to play, and I'm going to cue that up real quick. And then we'll be ready to go. So let's get that there. And that's the one. And so we will publish that in just a second. But one of the things I wanted to say. Okay. Sorry about that. I see several of you are typing. I'm just going to make sure that I have this set right. Good stuff. Thanks again. kirkrnugent.live/gear. Thanks, Kirk. Dr. Tashi says, family, it's your boy, Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speaker Preacher. Thankful for your time and attention today. We'll see you around these internet streets or in the next stream. Grace and peace, fam. Sponsorship is defined as the position or function of a person or group who vouches for, supports, advises, or helps fund another person or organization or project. In the creator world, we call them brand deals and monetization, which are both forms of sponsorship. But can sponsorship also mean job opportunities, speaking engagements, or increased credibility? And would you want to learn the steps to create that environment? I think you do. Join us Friday, February 7th at 10 a.m. Central Time for our Sponsor Magnet Masterclass with guest presenter Justin Moore. What if you could set yourself up to attract sponsors? Or have you ever received sponsor/brand attention but didn't have a process or pricing ready? Our guest presenter is my brand deal coach who just released a book by the same name as our class, Sponsor Magnet: How to Attract, Price, and Execute Your Dream Brand Partnerships. YouTube and Workers Warehouse members will gain access to exclusive Q&A session and lifetime replay access to the masterclass. Live and 24-hour replay access is free for everyone. Simply visit kirkrnugent.live/masterclass. Again, that's Friday, February 7th at 10 a.m. Central Time for our Sponsor Magnet Masterclass. I'll see you there.